Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me here today and everybody else. And if you're watching online, thanks for tuning in. My name's Walker Kinman. I'm going to talk a little bit about food, which after lunch is maybe fitting. We're going to talk about it from the perspective of technology today and how we use technology within our meal kit business. So to start with, a clicker that doesn't work. Let's try another one. There we go. To start with, what's the problem? The problem we're solving. The problem we're solving is really getting dinner on the table. Managing everything that goes into what it takes to put food on the table. To give variety, to give nutrition, to give inspiration, to give something that's tasty, and also gathers people around the table. It's complicated. I think you know that. We want to put good food in front of every customer, every subscriber of our meal kit business, and at the same time we want to make sure that you're not wasting food. And there's a lot of different reasons why food goes to waste. It could be the taste, it could be that the materials aren't right, it could also be that it's the wrong proportions, or simply that you made too much. But putting food in the bin is against our principles. So, LMK Group is a leading supplier of meal kits in the Nordics. We see ourselves as a leader in food tech because of the way we use technology to make sure that we put good food on the table. We work with very strong local brands. So for those of you in Sweden and the Swedes here, you will know Linas Matkasse probably fairly well. We do about 40% of our business in Sweden. We do over 50% of our business in Norway with two brands, Godt Levert and Adams Matkasse. We also do the rest of our business in Denmark with Rätt Nemt. And basically, you could say our secret sauce is a custom-built, purpose-driven platform, technical platform that we built ourselves. Basically, to meet what is a demand-driven business model, we have near zero inventory in our business model, and we also, as I mentioned, work with generating minimal food waste. We've been listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange since the First North Premier Growth Stock Exchange since March last year under the ticker LMKG. Really quickly in terms of the size of the business, last year we did 1.4 billion Swedish kronor in turnover. We generated about 93 million crowns in EBITDA profits. Today, if you look at the business, we have around 74,000 active customers. We reach over 80% of households in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, and we do it with about 400 employees. So when you think about the problem that we're solving, we're also actually tapping into several global trends. You know about the shift from offline to online. I'm not going to talk too much about that, other than that there's still room for growth in the Nordics. When we think about people's awareness of food health relationships, we can see a lot of isms rising up. And it's really about this awareness about how what I eat and what my family eats affects my quality of life and also perhaps the planet. We see new convenience emerging out of this as well. We have very busy lifestyles. There's a lot of things happening, whether it's working hours, whether it's the commute, it's the active lifestyle, it's getting the kids to soccer practice, whatever it might be. Many are overscheduled and time squeezed. They need help. They need help to eat well and at a great price and with good nutrition. And then there's also a call for climate action. We've heard also already today about sustainability and ESG topics, but if you look at consumers, a large number of consumers would be willing to change their habits if it meant having an impact on the planet. A lot has happened in the last year as we've emerged from COVID. We're not going to talk a lot about the global and the markets that we're operating in. I'm going to focus on the technology. So if I think about, and we talk a little about what is a meal kit, what's the meal kit value chain? It goes around and around and around. Every single week we do this work of fulfillment in a meal kit space. And basically it all starts with recipe and ingredient planning. So planning is very important in our business. I'll come back to that. Customers order their meal kits. They do that online. It's a digital business model. Order processing happens after cutoffs where we order ingredients. We purchase everything. We purchase on demand. So we're not purchasing and taking risk in terms of perishable goods lying in inventory. We do our packaging in our own facilities. So we package all of the products and the ingredients that customers will use during the week in our facilities. We use third-party suppliers to deliver those to the customer. And then the customer has everything they need to cook the meal at home, all the recipes, all the instructions, all the ingredients, cook the meal at home, enjoy it, and spend time with family instead of running around figuring out what are we going to eat for dinner. We have a lot of data in our business, and basically the data analysis is a key part of the technology. So when we think about what we needed to do to drive this business, we actually decided that we were going to build our own technology. So we don't have any vendor solutions in our business. It gives us a lot of agility, it gives us a lot of speed. It helps us stay ahead and keep ahead of the market in terms of driving and innovating the service forward. It also gives us another advantage. We control our data. So we're not hostage to anybody out there or another vendor out there where we need to go do complex integrations to be able to access our data. That gives us a lot of flexibility when working with machine learning and AI models, that we can do that on our own. And we've built those competencies in-house. So let's take a look at the information flow to our suppliers. So when it comes to our suppliers, we actually, first of all, we prioritize close relationships with local suppliers. That's a priority because we need a lot of contact with them. We give them a lot of information through the process. This is really a demand-driven business model. Just-in-time inventory is important for us to make sure that we have what we need and we don't waste. So we actually start our forecasting models up to 6 months in advance. Proteins take a lot of time to develop, so we work with protein suppliers well in advance. 10 weeks ahead of time, we go out and we start talking specifically about what article we need and in what quantity with every single supplier. And we update them every single week up until the point where the customer actually places the order or the order is locked in our system. And then we place our orders. So we don't take that risk, which also means that we have near zero inventory in our process. We have strategic inventory, but we don't take risk with regards to perishable food items. And this leads to then a very low level of food waste in our operations. And meal kits are one of the most efficient ways in terms of food distribution to reduce food waste in the distribution flow. We then use also our technology for a very tailored experience. So what you eat and what I eat, they're completely different, probably. So what you want to order and what I want to order are going to be different. And this is really about then using our technology to have unique preferences for every customer. You enter your preferences and we give you a meal suggestion. We have the widest selection of recipes in this segment, in this category of meal kits. So in Sweden, we offer 80 recipes every week that customers can choose from. They don't have to, because part of what we do is convenience. They're going to get good food anyway if they don't change anything. But if they do want to change something, they've got a lot to choose from. We do this in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark with a lot of different recipes to choose from, which is enabled by the technology which is driving our platform. We have, you could say, we use AI modeling to actually personalize food suggestions as well. So one thing is what you get in your pre-selections, but maybe you are interested actually in something else. How would you like to improve your menu, or what tastes are you interested in this week? We use AI modeling to actually give that suggestion to customers, and in our A/B testing we've shown that this actually makes a difference in terms of using AI modeling versus using individuals that are selecting different recipes to show to customers. And then finally, we also use machine learning to actually do churn prediction and prevention modeling. So understanding when the customer is, because of their behavior or whatever it might be, are at a point where they're more vulnerable to cancel their subscription, we then have actions that we take based on machine learning that gives us the opportunity to retain that customer before they leave. That's all nice if you know, in a digital world, give customers anything they want, but we actually deliver a physical product. So the physical product delivery is also very much part of the technology that we work with. And when you think about this technology, we use a semi-automated, basically produce to order. It's 100% customer unique packing that we do. Every box is made to order. And this is done with off-the-shelf pick-to-light components that we have integrated with our platform to drive a very efficient production line that has the capability of producing every box that goes to every customer as a unique box. Within the arena of the production, we also use AI. We use advanced algorithms that actually help us. So we work with 250 to 300 different ingredients every single week. And how do you optimize different ingredients every week in a production environment so that you can give better quality, speed up and make it more efficient, the production line, as well as increase safety for our own employees. And basically, having an algorithm that's based on AI gives us the ability to distribute the workload more evenly across different picking stations. It reduces the walking time for employees, and then of course it also takes heavy items and puts them in a place on the line that reduces the strain and the wear and tear on our colleagues. So all important also in the production environment. We sew this all together with a very much focus on the customer and a customer-centric culture. So as we look at our organization, we actually have cross-functional squads that are championing these, what we want to call epic customer experiences. And these cross-functional squads, they work at orchestrating what is basically a customer journey across the different functions in a very complex business. The fact that we have our own in-house software and that we've developed this ourselves also gives us a fast mover advantage in this context, to be able to work with cross-functional teams with a focus on the customer. So just when you think about, okay, well, great, what's a customer experience? Well, you could say we sort of divide it into two domains. One is a digital experience, which you would know well when you manage our services on your app or your web browser, etc. The other is actually a very physical experience. On the digital side, we break this down into two squads. A conversion squad that's actually working on converting traffic to subscriptions. And then we also work with a retention squad, which is how do you manage the service? And is that working in such a way that you're a happy customer because it's effortless from managing the service perspective and that you stay as a customer? On the physical side, food is very important, of course. What you eat it will affect how you perceive the service. So having a good food experience is very important, but not just the food. It's also about the delivery. How did it come to your house? What did you see when you opened the box? That experience of receiving a physical product and then appreciating it. And finally, we also have an add-on squad. So we look also at how to make a premium experience. So if you want to add premium recipes because of more expensive ingredients or other types of complexities, then you can also get that on the add-on squad, or you can get groceries, or you can get other types of add-on boxes. Right now we're selling Christmas julbordskasse, so feel free to buy a julbordskasse from Linus Matkasse this year. So this comes back to how we battle food waste. According to UN, food waste and loss accounts for roughly 38% of the energy consumed in food production around the world. Half of that happens in loss before it even gets to the supermarket. It gets to retail, to the point where it's going to be sold. Another half of that happens once it's sold and then gets into sort of the kitchens. It's also thrown away. And a big part of that happens in the home, in people's homes, when they throw away food that doesn't get consumed. We have a large impact in reducing food waste throughout this chain, throughout all parts of the value chain. And this is about our upstream, and it's about our downstream. On the upstream side, we work with our suppliers. So we do accurate and timely forecasts. This is very important so that they don't overproduce. Overproduce means that you have to sell it, and if you sell it, people overconsume. So food waste that's happening because of overproduction and overconsumption, we can affect by giving very clear and good estimates. We also work with suppliers to reduce their odd-cutting details. We only purchase what the consumers need and want in the right proportions. This leads to that in our own production, that we have a very low food waste. We have 1.8 grams per serving in 2021 that was food waste generated in our own operations. And of course, we have to quality check things that come through our operation, so we don't send out bad ingredients to customers. And then we also contribute downstream simply by the fact that we teach people how to cook. We help solve the logistics problems, but we also give the inspiration, and we give tips and tools and ways of actually reducing food waste in the home. Leads me to a quick summary here. When we think about the LMK group and this business, it's a category inventor that's been around for a long time. It's a scalable operational platform. It's a proven business model. It is profitable. We've been benefiting from mega trends. We will continue to do so. Sustainability has always been at the core of our business. As we look at more personalization and flexibility in the service and customizing the service, this will pave the way for growth. We hope to get the current environment behind us. I think everybody agrees on that, but we see growth in the future and foundations for profitable growth. So that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you very much indeed, Walker. Since 2008, other players have entered the market. So how do you make sure you stay ahead of the game? How do you make sure you're not being competed out? I'm looking at, specifically, you mentioned all the isms that people want to eat vegetarian, they focus on the environment, etc. And there are players that are specifically focused on these types of meals. So how do you make sure you don't lose customers to the more tailored players?
Well, there is definitely a niche market, and there are niche actors in the space. I think from our perspective, we take on a purpose of innovating the mealtime experience, and that's very much been part of our entrepreneurship since 2008. In the later years, we have become much more flexible and much more listening to what is it that customers need and want from the service.
Yes.
So the being able to be flexible and meet the customer needs is very important. I think the other thing from a sustainability perspective is to be profitable as well. So we do have a lot of competitors in our space. We don't have a lot of profitable competitors in our space operating in the markets where we're at. So we have a good cash balance, and we expect to continue to drive profitability before just a growth perspective.
So when you look at growth, do you look at other markets, expanding your horizon?
We have several different growth vectors that we look at, and I think obviously one of those areas is always geographic expansion, but I think we have plenty to do here at home first.
All right, well, we'll see. Exciting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.